Pinewood Battery is located in Longfu Shan Country Park. It was built from 1901 to 1905 to house two 6-inch guns on a 307 meters high hill for the defense of Victoria Harbour. It was originally built for defending the British Army against the threat of the French and Russian who challenged Britain's interests in China. The guns were removed in 1913, but in the mid-1920s, the battery was converted to allow two 3-inch anti-aircraft guns to be installed on the emplacements. In 1941, the site was used to fight against the Japanese. During the war, the battery was air-raided and heavily shelled against bombs on the 15th of December, ended up with many casualties, and the site was left abandoned after surrendering. Pinewood Battery is on private government land, originally to be monitored by the Leisure and Cultural Services Department, whereas the maintenance is by the Architectural Services Department. But in reality, it is open access for scenic viewings for hikers in the Longfu Shan Country Park. The military structures on Pinewood Battery has been a Grade II historic building since 2009. A heritage trail has been created on the site, which is also part of the Central and Western Heritage Trail, Western District, and the Peak Route. Though it was said to be owned privately de jure, the reality is that there is insufficient and inactive management on the site.
Viewing the environmental condition, the site has covered with heavy vegetation surrounding the ruins. It was evidence that the natural weathering has affected the place a lot. Wheat has been grown all over the place, especially on pillbox and barracks. Moreover, there are threats on the ground from human activities as the site was changed into a scenic attraction for public access. Pinewood was converted into an anti-aircraft battery. More battery buildings and bunkers were constructed around the battery. Today, all the old battery buildings are now in a severe ruinous condition, and two of the old magazines were demolished in recent times.
Though Pinewood Battery is regarded as a Grade II historic building since 2009, both building and environmental conditions show that there are insufficient management on sites to conserve the heritage. We could see that the heritage treatment was not sufficient, but some have been done. The heritage trail set up by the government was able to attract public's awareness of the battery, so that the public can learn more about the historical values of the Pinewood Battery. Some of the warning signs have been constructed by the government, such as unauthorized firearms, air guns, propelling and releasing instruments are not allowed or highly discouraged on site, which can raise public awareness about site protection from human activities.
However, there are still a lot to be improved with the conservation of Pinewood Battery. According to HKPSG Chapter 10, 4.2, Grade II historic buildings graded by Antiquities Advisory Board are buildings of special merit. Efforts should be made to selectively preserve. However, the reality is that management of Pinewood Battery is not up to standard. Also, due to the mode of access, a lot of hikers can visit the site freely, leading to the pollution of the site. Some of the structures have been dilapidated due to natural weathering and aging, or even due to human activities, also graffitis destroying the battery itself. Presence of overgrown near the surrounding, except for the trail which morning hikers walk from. It is far from the standard to protect, conserve, and revitalize. As the historic site is of Grade II heritage, the major problem is the management on access to general public without sufficient conservation by the professionals. To avoid rent dissipation, the government should take initiative as the main stakeholder to limit the access to the site with good scenic design and access control to the ruins, or even ultimately collaborating with the general public as stated in the guideline of HKPSG.
In light of the current conditions of the Pinewood Battery, the method of social entrepreneurship is recommended. Part of the property rights will be granted to NGOs to allow them to convert military structures of the battery into some innovative businesses, while conserving them and providing education to the general public at the same time. It is able to promote public participation, create job opportunities, review the issue of sanitation and maintenance, as well as unauthorized development done by the nearby residents through controlling the access into the structures. As the HKPSG has also stated, in implementing this policy, due regard should be given to development needs in the public interest, respect for private property rights, budgetary considerations, cross-sector collaboration, and active engagement of stakeholders and the general public. The collaboration and active engagement of stakeholders and the public is important for conservation.
In fact, it is not new to conserve military structures by social entrepreneurship. The Central Ordnance Depot is a case in point that the 6 bunkers were converted into wine cellars, a clubhouse, and a conservatory restaurant respectively. The depot was then awarded the UNESCO Award of Merit in 2007, showing its success in conservation. The site is located in a rural area. Only less than 30 minutes is needed to travel to the site from the University of Hong Kong. Based on this, one of the approaches to conserve the Pinewood Battery is to introduce innovative business such as converting it into a restaurant and military style with active management. The environmental and building conditions of the site could be improved, and it would then be easier to attract visitors, leading to the prosperity of tourism there. The historic journey of the military structures is over. From now on, the Pinewood Battery and every relic must show subservience to the torrents of the contemporary society.